Hey guys, this is Darius from Justice League Swag here, back with another deck profile. Today we have Darkness Dragon World Mill deck. Justin, take it away.
Alright, so first off, my buddy is Retaliation Abigail, because when he's destroyed, you draw a card and your opponent mills too, so you don't really get out resourced if you have to call this to the right or left just to swing at your opponent. Because I like this deck a lot more than Requiem, because this deck can actually deal damage and kill your opponent. So it has like two ways to win, while Requiem just has like the one. So with the mill, I'm going to start off with my size zeros. I'm running 3 Devos because you can call back any unit that you want that's in the drop zone, except for impact monsters. So it's really useful, the toolbox, like mid to late game. This deck usually takes about 2 to 3 turns to win, either by damage or decking out your opponent. Especially since so many decks draw so much or gauge so much in the game, it's pretty easy to deck them out. Moving to the size 1 lineup, I'm only running 3 Napalm. Only 3 Napalm because his ability is only once per turn, and his stats are pretty, pretty meh. So, ideally, now with the new spell, Black Ritual, it's like an easy mill 5 for basically free. So, in a cycle, gain a life and a gauge. So, he's pretty good, but not something that you want to max just because his ability is once per turn. And you can search him with the spells that I'm running. 3 Zach Crown. Only 3 because your first turn, you usually don't need to play him. You mill out a lot of stuff from your opponent's deck in between your first and second turn, so then that's when he's ideal for the rest of the game. So you could get him back from drop with Devos, or you could search him out with the search spell that I'm running. I think it's Purgatory Loophole. So 3 of that guy. Then 4 the buddy. I already talked about him. When he's destroyed, you get to draw a card. Your opponent mills 2, so he's really fucking good and you gain a life. So it's no drawback to having like a field full of these, because it's like if your opponent tries to attrition you, they're also decking themselves out. Next up for ones, the last of the ones, 3. Gaito. Gaito is great because he helps you out with gauge issues that you may have, as well as destroying your opponent's cards on the left and right. So he's really good against decks with size 2 or size 3s in there. He's easy to protect if you run what is it called? Black Dragon Remade. But ideally, like, you only need Gaito to go off like once or twice a game. Clear your opponent's field, open up that center, and swing in for the gushy center. So next up, grade 2s. I'm running 4 Cataclysm. This guy is amazing. When he's destroyed, your opponent mills 2, and then you gauge 1 if your opponent has 6 or more in drop. So Black Dragon Remade makes this card really good. Not only do you defend yourself, but you're going to potentially mill about 4 cards from your opponent and gauge 2 by the time he dies. So Cataclysm, that's the only 2 I run. I tried the new Negalvolds, and it just wasn't working. Because it wasn't worth paying the gauge and then trying to destroy your opponent's cards to make the mill. It took way too much just to get a mill off. So, lastly, for my monsters, size 3s, I'm running 3, 4, 4. Abigail Unlimited Death Drain. This is the main win con of the deck. If you have Purgatory Loophole and you don't have one of these in your hand and you have the gauge, this is the primary card that you want to search out. You can, I'm running at 4 so I can see it as much as possible. And also get it back from the drop zone with another set spell that I'm running. Cage of Nightmares. So you just ideally destroy Cage of Nightmares with Black Ritual or with this guy during your final phase. And then if you have a ton of gauge and you know that you can survive another turn, you just get back another unlimited Death Drain. So 10 cards from your opponent's deck in 2 turns. They should deck out by the second unlimited Death Drain. Weapons, I'm running 4 Chainblade Killing Chain. This card is fucking amazing and exactly what the deck needed. When it's sent to the drop zone, you gauge 2. So you pay a gauge. Whenever your opponent mills, they mill 2 more, but it's once per turn. So ideally, what you want to do is equip this, play something like Black Blast, uh, swing at your opponent with all of your units. Final phase impact, sack this off and sack off blast. Using Abigail skill, your opponent mills 10 first, and then you proc the item skill next to gauge 2, and then use Black Blast skill to pay a gauge and then mill 5. So you almost milled 15 cards from your opponent's deck for nothing. I don't think the skill goes off for this to mill 2 if you do it that way, but some of the negates help you mill on your opponent's turn, or like Cataclysm. Plus, there's other cards that you can just mill on your turn, so you'll get off the mill skill of the item before it drops. Last item, I'm running 1 Dragon Force just in case I play against the rush deck. I haven't needed it yet, but it's pretty handy just because all you need is an Abigail in your drop zone. So if you have your buddy or unlimited Death Drain in the drop zone, this is live. So just save yourself and then do that last mill on your opponent and hopefully kill them if you can. Only 2 Black Dragon Remade, because you only need Black Dragon Remade to protect Cataclysm during your opponent's turn, so you could take advantage of his mill engage, or to take advantage of your buddy Abigail during your opponent's turn. The only other times I use this is to protect my monsters, primarily Gaito, while I'm attacking. So yeah, protect that Gaito so he doesn't get counter removed. Only 3 Purgatory Loophole. If you see too many of them, it's like not a lot that you could do with it because it is a gauge. So you primarily want to just use this card to search for Zakrown, Gaito to get gauge, or the impact monster to start milling. 2 Cage of Nightmares, because the purpose of this card is just to get back the impact monster whenever your opponent, whenever you play a monster on your field, Black Dragon, your opponent has to mill 1. So that's why it's only 2, because you only need this to get back the impact monsters from your drop. Then 2 Removal Voice. It's only once per turn. Spot search from the drop. You already have Devos, so this is the counter call stuff during your opponent's turn. If they're trying to penetrate like your unlimited Death Drain, you can Removal Voice, counter call, what is his name? Black Blast, Napalm over him, and then dodge penetrate, and then as soon as they hit Napalm, and he dies, if you have the gauge, pay 1 gauge and then mill 5. So that can steal a game. Next up for spells, 4 Black Ritual. Card is too good not to run it at 4, and you want to see it all the time. So I have to max it. And anything that's Black Dragon related is pretty good to max that card. 4 Black Dragon Shield, because you're kind of playing an open center deck. You can rush down your opponent. You can actually wail on your opponent's monsters or your opponent themselves with your item. I like to just shoot for damage with this deck, so having this is pretty cool. Nothing in the deck has Soul Guard, so a lot of stuff that counter removal or just blows up stuff during your opponent's turn could be a problem. So Black Dragon Shield keeps you alive until you could deck out your opponent. And then lastly for spells, Enemy Wall. I did not like this card at all, but as I use it, it gets better and better, because even if you don't get off the skill of negating the attack, the mill 2 during your opponent's turn, and then if you have the item equipped, milling 2 more was really clutch, because I won a game against the Chaos deck just because of that. Attacks only has 4 cards left in deck because he had the gauge and draw, because he had no gauge at all. And no cards on the field because I field wiped them the turn before because I just swung out at his entire field. So made him mill the last 2, and because of the weapon skill, he had to mill 2 more. So he would have killed me, but he decked out, so he lost. So that's it for my mill Black Dragon deck profile, and we'll have more coming up. Peace.